So last week I did this video here, basically speculating what if our global supply chain breaks down, the grocery stores close, bad case scenario. And I actually got this comment from someone saying this was a great video, especially with everything we're hearing around us. I would love for you to do a video on the amount of grains, wheat, corn, barley, rice, etc., to have in storage per person. And then they go on to usually say what they usually have on hand. And it would be great to have a breakdown of this and include other food sources to have on hand as well. Well, good news, because we're going to be doing that today. And I have a little freebie for y'all that's going to make it a bit easier. Hey y'all, welcome back to Grains and Grit. My name is Felicia, and on this channel I teach you all things real whole grains from a biblical perspective. I teach you how and why to be milling your grains, baking that bread, and more. Okay, yes, my voice is a little wonky because I've been dealing with some sort of little cold or whatever it is, so I apologize for how weird my voice is sounding right now. It's not crazy, but it'll be getting better pretty soon. The show still must go on. So we still got to get a video out for y'all this week. So just pardon the voice. All right. So we're going to be answering this question today about how much grain should you be storing, or maybe you want to figure out what you want to store and how much actually is that for the needs of your family. And then also talk about some other things that I do recommend being sure that you're stocked up as well. And this is especially dealing with those who are home millers, who want to be prepping with grains, all of those type of things. And do know that I've kind of been on this series lately about prepping with grains, and I will be sure to link all the videos below. And do know that I do also have just a course, how to master prepping with grains, if you want to even go even further, and that will be in the description box below as well. Okay, so let us first answer the question about how much or how many grains that maybe you should be storing, or wondering if do I have enough for my needs? Because I think many of us go into this thinking like, well, I would like a month supply, a 3-month supply, a year supply. But how much is that? Especially if you're new and you're not sure how much grain you actually go through each month on a regular basis. Because again, you should be milling your grains, using whole grains now, so that way you know what to do with it whenever you actually need it. I do not advocate just storing grains and then never using them. I do think that you should be using them now. Let's actually look at grains, how much to have on hand. And good news, I've got a freebie for y'all that you can download to work through yourself. And also at any point, if your needs change, you can go back to this handy dandy worksheet to help you figure it out. And wow, I feel like I sound like a squeaky squirrel. My goodness, a really deep one. Okay, so just go to this link here up on the screen, or click in the description box below to receive your free grains calculator. And I'm actually going to work through this with you here so you understand how it works. So we'll pause so you can go grab that. Okay, so I hope you have that now. And we're going to pull it up here on the screen. If you have ever done taxes, as much as we hate them, the calculations are very similar. I walked you through them like taxes. So first of all, you're just going to answer the question, how many loaves of bread do you consume each week? Now, what I mean by loaves of bread, I did this based on my simple yeast bread loaf recipe. So one basic recipe makes me about 3 loaves of bread that are roughly around 1 pound, 5 to 7 ounces. So a good size, just typical little loaf, kind of a medium sized loaf. So not huge, not super small, but this is what I based it on. So if you're using my simple yeast bread recipe, this is what I did. You can change this up if you want to do some extra math, if there's another bread recipe that you use, and then figure out what does the wheat berries weigh, so on and so forth. And you can insert those numbers in here. This just gives you a basic idea. So this is based on my simple yeast bread loaf recipe. So we're going to go simple here, simple math. And I'm going to say, how many loaves of bread do you consume? Let's say that you consume 4. So you just write down 4 here. Then step 2, multiply line 1 by 4. This is how many loaves of bread you roughly consume in a month. So 4 times 4 is 16. Okay. And it's a little bit I'm writing a little bit bigger here. So each loaf of bread uses about 26 ounces of wheat berries. Let's calculate how many ounces of wheat berries you consume in a month. Now, if you want to know why I use ounces instead of grams, that is because at least here in the United States, we are typically buying our wheat berries by the pound. So I just stuck in those measurements. Okay, so each loaf of bread uses about 26 ounces of wheat berries. So let's calculate how many ounces of wheat. So you'll go to multiply line 2 by 26. So that's 16 times 26, which is 416. Very easy to do if you have a calculator. And then let's convert ounces into pounds. There are 16 ounces in 1 pound. So let's take our 416 ounces and divide by 16. And we are looking at, luckily for me, I had a round number, and that is 26 pounds. So that worked out well. I would just always round up. So if you get like, 26.7 pounds or something like that, just round up to 27, maybe even add on a few pounds just to be sure. So we're now at 26 pounds. So if you also bake other items like cookies, cakes, pie crust, biscuits, then you will add about 25% more. I recommend doing this anyway, because this also includes like pancakes, waffles, muffins, those type of things. So I would do this just to be on the safe side, because it's giving you a nice little buffer. So let us do 26 pounds, okay, times 0.25 or 25%, which is 6.5 pounds. I'm going to go ahead and round up. That would be 7 pounds. And then you add lines 4 and 5. Perfect that I'm doing this close to April 15th, because this is exactly like how they do taxes. So 7 plus 26 is 33 pounds. And that right there, my friend, is how many pounds of grain, of specifically wheat berries, that you go through in a month. Ta-da! Pretty simple. And then you can take that and determine, okay, so if you want a 12-month supply, just do that 33 pounds times 12 to determine how many pounds of wheat berries that you are wanting to have on hand for a 12-month supply or 2-year supply or 6-month supply, however you want to do this. And easy peasy lemon squeezy, that's how you can figure it out. And use this as well as a basis for, say, if you want to figure out, your oats or your corn. It's just taking your recipe, weighing out the corn or the oats or whatever it is to determine the poundage, the ounces that are in that. And then you can kind of just substitute those into this worksheet. So for example, if you love grits, and I know that every Sunday I want to have grits on hand, and I weigh out my corn that I need for how many cups of grits, same basic type of calculation to help you figure out what you need to have on hand. Same thing with like oatmeal or whatever it is that you like, or just, use this as a general basis, because I know I make way more loaves of bread than I do, say, grits. So this will just give you a general idea. It's why I stuck with wheat berries, because I think that's the one that we kind of go through the most in our family. And then you can figure out from here whether you want to keep like hard red or hard white or soft white wheat. This is just a general idea to give you an idea of what you use each month. And again, as your needs change, go back and redo this worksheet. We're going to pause real quick and actually talk about today's sponsor, which is 4 Generations Organic Farms. They are perfect for wheat berries that you want to stock up on. And they actually are my go-to wheat berries that I recommend my newbies and everyone to have on hand. And that is your hard red and your hard white wheat berries. These are great for your yeast spreads and for many other type of baking as well. So the beauty of 4 Generations Organic Farms is that, first of all, they've been around for, you guessed it, for 4 generations. They are also organic farmers, which means no glyphosate, none of those nasty chemicals. They take care of their soil as regenerative farmers. So that means that the healthier and more nutritious the soil is, the more nutritious that your wheat berries are going to be. They are a family-owned farm up in Alva, Oklahoma, which is just west of Oklahoma City, and I've actually been there. It's a beautiful place. They take excellent care of their entire farm, and I also just really am impressed with the people that work there as well. And just know that whenever you do support 4 Generations Organic Farms, you are supporting our good old-fashioned American farmers and buying directly. These are clean wheat berries that are in buckets or bags with oxygen absorbers, ready and easy to store, and they're shipped right to your house. So be sure to check them out. Just go to grainsandgrit.com/ freebie.com/4generations. Use this coupon code here up on the screen for 10% off your first order. Tell them I sent you and enjoy stocking up on their wheat berries. Now let's talk about the other things that you need to consider, because when it comes to baking bread, it is not just your wheat berries or whatever grains you like to use. There are other ingredients, and this is where I say to stock up on whatever ingredients that you typically use for your breads. So this includes things like your yeast. I do recommend, and most of the time they sell it to you this way anyway, and that is when it comes to your yeast, to buy them in the 1 or 2 pound packs that are vacuum sealed. The beauty of them being vacuum sealed is that they are shelf stable for a very long time. And then personally what I do is then whenever I open it, I just store it in my freezer just to keep it going longer. I go through it fast enough where it's not the end of the world, but when I first started, it would take me like 6 to 8 months to go through 1 2 pound bag of yeast. So I like to just keep it in my freezer just to be on the safe side. The big brands are ones like Red Star or Fleischmann's yeast or SAF yeast. But again, buy it in the 1 or 2 pound packs because it is way cheaper than keeping a bunch of those little jars on hand. Other ones that you need to consider stocking up are ones, especially like your oils. These are things like olive oil or avocado oil or coconut oil. To be honest, Azure Standard is one of my favorite places to buy these because you can get really good quality for lesser price. And I'll be linking all these down below, but you can also buy these, say at, Costco or Sam's Club, or just keeping stock of whatever your favorite brands are. For bread baking, I do typically use extra virgin olive oil, sometimes avocado oil. I also love to keep peanut oil on hand, which I know is not everyone's favorite, but I do like to use it for like frying, certain cooking, things like that. And peanut oil is a whole lot better than vegetable oil, and all of these can be found at your typical grocery store. So those are another things to consider. How much do you use in your recipes, to how much you keep on hand. The one thing about oils is you have to be careful because they can go rancid. So just be sure that you're storing them more in a darker, cool place, especially making sure your olive oils, your avocado oils are in the darker glass bottles because that's what keeps them away from light. And then of course, just be rotating through those oils. Don't take oils and just put them on a shelf and never touch them for years. You need to be rotating through those. Another thing to keep on hand is salt. And this is also for a myriad of reasons, not just for bread baking, but for cooking, everything like that. I love Redmond salt. That is my go-to salt that I love because it's extremely mineral rich, easy to store. Salt can be stored in a good bucket with a good lid. So you can store a lot of salt, and it's going to keep, it's salt, it's a preserving agent. It keeps for a long time. If moisture gets in it, it's going to cake. So make sure that it's very well sealed and everything like that. But I do recommend Redmond salt, or, just go to like Sam's Club or something if you just want to get the boxes of the regular iodized salt. But I do recommend a good quality salt, but something you also need to keep on hand. The last ingredient is some type of sugar or multiple types of sugar. So these include things like cane sugar, asucanat or brown sugar, and then of course, honey. Now the thing about honey is you can certainly store it for a while, but eventually it will crystallize. So you needed just whatever ability where all that is you just need to heat it up to melt everything, but it's still good to go. Honey is great. Bonus points if you can actually keep your own bees, because that's definitely next level stuff. But you do all definitely want a sugar type source. You use that in your baking, but also it's just good to have on hand just in case you need a little bit of pep in your step. Maybe sugar starts getting low or whatever the case may be. It's excellent to have. The last items that I recommend are your go-to seasonings, to have a huge amount of seasonings. This is not necessarily in bread baking per se, but also just in general cooking. So my go-to seasonings, like if I have these seasonings, I can make anything. And that is salt, that is pepper, that is onion powder, garlic powder, and Italian seasoning. I feel like if I have those seasonings, I can make anything taste good. And so definitely keep these on hand. Again, I recommend always rotating through your stockpile because again, all that I'm stocking up on are things that I'm already using. I'm already using these items. So just be rotating them through, determine, no less than say a gallon of onion powder to have on hand that you can keep. And the great thing about seasonings is you can buy these in bulk, just even at Sam's or Costco or places like Azure Standard or Pleasant Hill Grain. These type of places where you can buy them like in bigger bags and then store them like in mason jars, those type of things. All right, so that is it, y'all. That is kind of my list of just the basics. Of course, add on top of this. So when it comes to prepping, just really, first of all, just look around to see where you use the most and determine how much you need on hand to last you a certain amount of time. I mean, that's the basics of prepping right there. So let me know in the comments below if there's anything that you would add to this list. Let me know of maybe what your favorite seasonings are or whatever the case may be, or maybe if you have a go-to place of where to get certain things, we would love to hear that below in the comments. And if you want to know why you should actually be stocking up on grains, why it is a superfood that many preppers just completely ignore when it comes to their prepper pantry, you need to check out this video right here. And as always, I hope y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next week, hopefully with my voice more intact. And y'all have a great day. Bye.